Serena Williams confesses self-talk that helped her silence critics. You were too big. Serena Williams has always been more than just an athlete. She is a cultural icon, a powerful voice for perseverance, and a woman who has transformed the way the world views greatness in sports. Throughout her remarkable career, she has faced an avalanche of criticism, comments about her body, her playing style, her dominance, and even her right to be where she was. But recently, the tennis legend opened up about the self-talk that helped her endure the harsh spotlight, silence her critics, and ultimately write one of the most extraordinary stories in the history of sports. Her confession about telling herself, "You were too big," has resonated far beyond the tennis court. It's not only a personal revelation but also a message of empowerment for anyone who has ever been judged, underestimated, or told they don't fit in. A journey defined by resilience. From the very beginning of her tennis journey, Serena was met with both admiration and skepticism. Alongside her sister Venus, she burst onto the tennis scene in the late 1990s, bringing power, flair, and a new level of athleticism to women's tennis. While their victories quickly made headlines, so did the criticism. Commentators often questioned Serena's body type, suggesting she was too muscular or too big compared to the traditional, slender silhouettes that had dominated women's tennis for decades. Some critics implied her strength was somehow unnatural, as if her success was something the sport wasn't prepared for. These remarks weren't just observations, they were dismissals, attempts to minimize her talent by focusing on her appearance rather than her unmatched skill. But Serena didn't allow those voices to drown her out. Instead, she developed an inner dialogue, a form of self-talk that would carry her through the highs and lows of her career. You were too big, turning criticism into fuel. When Serena confessed the words she used to silence her critics, "You were too big," she wasn't repeating the insult with shame. She was reclaiming it. She explained that the criticism once aimed at tearing her down became the very thing she used to lift herself up. Every time she stepped onto the court, she reminded herself that being too big wasn't a weakness, it was her strength. Her powerful physique allowed her to serve faster, hit harder, and dominate rallies in ways her opponents couldn't match. What was intended as a weapon against her became her shield. Serena's ability to reframe the narrative wasn't just about tennis, it was about survival in a world that constantly sought to define her. By owning the label, she turned a potential insecurity into a mantra of empowerment. Beyond the court, a symbol of body positivity. Serena's story speaks to a broader cultural conversation about body image, representation, and self-acceptance. For decades, women, especially women in the public eye, have been scrutinized for their bodies. In sports, this scrutiny is magnified, with athletes often expected to fit into narrow definitions of femininity. By openly discussing the criticism she endured, Serena has become a trailblazer for body positivity. Her acknowledgement of how self-talk helped her rise above hurtful comments sends a powerful message: strength comes in many forms, and beauty does not have a single definition. For young athletes and fans alike, Serena's confession serves as a reminder that resilience begins within. The ability to control the narrative about yourself, rather than letting others dictate it, is a life skill as important as any serve or forehand. Facing the critics with unwavering confidence. Throughout her career, Serena was never shy about confronting critics directly. She challenged double standards, called out unfair treatment, and used her platform to advocate for equality. Yet, what many people didn't know until now was how much of that strength came from her inner dialogue. By admitting that she repeated to herself, "You were too big," she offered a rare glimpse into her private mental game. For Serena, silence wasn't about ignoring critics, it was about drowning them out with a louder, more empowering inner voice. Achievements that spoke louder than words. Of course, Serena's career achievements ultimately silenced most of her detractors. With 23 Grand Slam singles titles, 4 Olympic gold medals, and countless other records, she established herself as one of the greatest athletes of all time, regardless of gender. Her dominance on the court forced critics to shift their narratives. Where they once said she was too big, they had to admit she was also too fast, too strong, and too skilled to be stopped. Her success proved that greatness isn't about fitting into a mold, it's about breaking it. motherhood and a new chapter. Even after stepping away from full-time competition, Serena's journey of resilience continued. Becoming a mother only deepened her connection to the idea of self-talk and self-acceptance. She has spoken openly about the changes her body went through during pregnancy and postpartum recovery, once again facing the world's harsh gaze with courage. By sharing her story, she has inspired countless women to embrace their own bodies and silence their own critics, whether those critics are external voices or internal doubts. The broader impact of Serena's words. Serena's confession about the phrase, "you were too big," isn't just about sports. It's about the power of reclaiming narratives in every aspect of life. For athletes, it is a lesson in mental toughness. For women, it is a reminder that strength and beauty coexist in many forms. For young people, it is proof that what others see as flaws can become your greatest assets. Her story resonates in boardrooms, classrooms, and homes, wherever people struggle with criticism or self-doubt. It shows that what defines you is not what others say, but what you tell yourself. A legacy of power and grace. Serena Williams has never been just a tennis champion. She is a symbol of courage, determination, and unapologetic authenticity. Her willingness to share her struggles, not just her triumphs, adds depth to her legacy. By confessing the mantra that carried her through the fire, Serena has given the world a gift, the understanding that self-talk matters. The words we repeat to ourselves can shape our destinies. And sometimes, the best way to silence the critics is to embrace their words and flip their meaning. Conclusion: the lasting power of self-belief. Serena Williams' journey is a masterclass in resilience. Her confession about repeating, "you were too big," reveals the private strength behind her public victories. What was once used against her became her greatest weapon. Her story is a reminder that we all have the power to control our own narratives. Critics will always exist. Doubters will always speak. But as Serena has shown, the loudest voice, the one that truly matters, is the one inside your own head. For decades, Serena has shown the world what it means to be a champion. Not just because of her Grand Slam titles or her records, but because of her ability to rise above negativity, embrace her uniqueness, and inspire millions to do the same.